Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peter Likes Books. Today, my video is being co-hosted by none other than Boo Radley. I have tried to have him in all three of my videos today, because he thinks he's quite the movie star. But he has been rather rowdy, haven't we? He says, well, Dad, he's been digging behind me, trying to find the perfect place to sleep. But he was so proud of his haircut that he got about a week ago that he wanted to show it off. Okay, there you go. And PP over there. I don't know. He might make an appearance in this video depending on how short or long this video is. I can already feel it. He's going to go behind me and go, do your dogs do that? I love it. It's so crazy to me. It cracks. Oh, what are we doing, Boob? I call him Boob sometimes. And Bood and Bud and all kinds of things. Oh, now he's over here, sitting over here. So this is not dog stories, although I do love when Conor O'Brien has his dogs in his videos. I love dogs so much, and I love when people put them in their videos. I feel like it shows a different side of somebody, you know? I want to talk about somebody today, and this is just kind of a random discussion video, much like my videos that I used to do when I very first started doing BookTube. And it's kind of strange because it's kind of something that happened with the universe. You want to come here, bud? Okay. And so, Pee-Pee the Flying Chihuahua. How are you doing today? Oh, he says, I'm doing okay. I'm kind of tired today. He's been real tired all day today. So anyway, I have a lot of favorite books that I talk about on here. I always say, oh, this is in my top 3 or this is in my top 5. I have never really done. I actually think I did do this one time on my channel. I made like a top favorites list. It changes every day. I don't even know what my top favorites are from day to day. I honestly don't. But I do know if a certain book hangs out in the top 20, if that makes sense, you know, of that popular crowd. I was never in the popular crowd at school. They didn't want to have me. And I've been singing the blues ever since, like Janis Joplin says. But anyway, I just, you know, like I'll have all these books and they kind of float in and out. And it was interesting because on my Peterisms channel, I started another channel December 1st, and it's all story times from my life, like kind of endearing, lesson learning things. And the other day I did this video and it was called My Last Blog, if you want to go check it out. And in there I read, and this is from like 10 years ago, I had made a list on my very first blog that I ever wrote on, a list of my top 10 movies and my top 10 books. Now let me tell you what's interesting about that, okay? Is that my #1 movie was To Kill a Mockingbird. But To Kill a Mockingbird didn't even make my list, my top 10 list of best books. And I thought that was interesting looking at that, you know? So the other night on my vlog, I was talking, I don't know, it's probably been about 2 weeks now, I was talking about some of my favorite authors, and I was talking about Stuart Onan and how much I love Stuart Onan. And the very first book that I read of his was called Speed Queen. And, you know, I think there's something about when you find an author that you love and you read their first book, that it will always be your favorite book of theirs. And I have read almost all of Stuart Onan's collected works at this point. There's probably 2 books of his that I haven't read. And if you don't know who he is, he lives on the East Coast. He's very good friends with Stephen King. He writes beautifully. And he's a literary fiction is kind of the genre that I would put him in. And every book that he writes is completely different. You know, he has a book called October Country, and it's about these kids that are killed in a car accident, and 2 of them survive, and it's kind of like them trying to recraft the car accident a year later, and it's done so well. And then Songs for the Missing, which I read last year, about a girl that goes missing and how her family is affected by it. And Last Night at the Lobster, which is about this guy that works at the Red Lobster, and Christmas Eve is his last night there. But my favorite book of his is Speed Queen. And I mentioned this in this vlog the other night that I did on my vlog channel, and I cannot find a copy of this book anywhere, okay? Until Susan sent me a copy. I opened this yesterday, went to my post office, and I had this in there, and I was like, oh my God. I gave this book away to a friend, and then we like don't talk anymore, and they still have my book, and that was probably 10 years ago. Longer than that, because I can remember reading it on a road trip to Biloxi, Mississippi, and that was with my ex, so it was probably 15 years ago. This is one of the most fantastic books I've ever read in my entire life. And not just because of the message that it sends, but because it's just an enthralling story. So let me read you what it's about, okay? And I just wanted to share on here today, and I think I might do this from time to time. I might talk about just some of my favorite books that I read years ago. The Speed Queen is a gripping story of a twisted love triangle's drug-fueled killing spree across the desert plains, told in the voice of Oklahoma death row inmate Marjorie Standiford, who is recounting her experiences for a best-selling horror writer researching the murders, Stephen King. Chilling, brutal, and unrelenting, It's an unputdownable crime novel in the tradition of James M. Cain, A Voyage into the Dark Soul of the American West. It is so fantastic. If you can find this, you guys have got to read it, Speed Queen. Look at that cover. The cover is gorgeous to me. I absolutely love it. And the thing is about Stuart Onan is he is one of, I should look at this and make sure it is Stuart Onan. I was like, God, wouldn't that be embarrassing if it says like Tom Smith or something? Stuart Onan is one of the most underrated authors of our time, period. Every book of his that I read, I'm just like, Last Night at the Lobster I read last year for Christmas, or 2 years ago for Christmas, I think. And it's very short. It's less than 100 pages. And it has stuck with me every day since it. I mean, there are some lines in the book that have stuck with me through and through. And he is just a phenomenal, phenomenal author. I don't really care what book of yours you read. This book will always be my favorite because I can remember reading it on a road trip through the South. And for that reason alone, it stuck with me. I love to read books in cities that I'm going to. If you guys are going to like Miami, I like to read a book that takes place in Miami. This year I'm reading Star Island by Carl Hyacin when I go to Miami in March, and I'm very excited about that. And so this book was what I read on this road trip. And I think for that reason, I can remember the windows being open, and it stuck with me. But this girl's story shows from beginning to end addiction, as well as consequences that you can suffer by all of, you know, the choices that you make in your life. And it's just so prolific. It's such a beautiful novel, and even in a very dark tone. And I think that shows the quality of a great writer. So please go check out The Speed Queen by Stuart Onan, and I will link it below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.